What's going on YouTube? claicyuzolt back again. In today's video, we're going to be taking our first look and giving you guys a little bit of gameplay, a little bit of tutorial how to play on a new trading card game that just came out called Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions. Now, before we get into this video, I do need to mention that I am sponsored to play it by PlayFusion. So thank you so much, PlayFusion, for giving me the opportunity to show off this awesome new trading card game. I love trading card games. I'm into a lot of them, and it looks like I might be getting into one more after looking at this. My friends have actually already been playing this, already talking about it. They were in the beta. They were playing it a lot, so it's kind of cool that they approached me to be able to do this because I already knew about what was going on in the game. So Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions is a new trading card game that is set in the universe of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So if you're used to that universe, you know the characters, maybe you know a couple things about that lore, you're going to be able to kind of match that with what's going on here. This game can be played on your iOS, Android, or Amazon devices, and if you use the link in the description below, you can get that on the Apple App Store, the Android App Store, or the Amazon App Store. So please use the link in the description below if you guys are going to be downloading that. So let's get into the game and show you guys what it's all about. So at the very beginning of the game, if you hit play, you're only going to be able to do a mode that isn't shown here, but it's called Proving Grounds. Essentially, you go in there, it's kind of tutorial based. You guys are going to learn how the game works, and as you beat that, you're going to be able to unlock, if you win with the deck, you're going to be able to unlock the other deck. And if we go in to look at my decks here, I've actually unlocked the 4 different ones you can get at the beginning, because there are 4 different factions in the game. And what factions are, they kind of each have their different own play style. They have different champions you can play in each one, and certain cards you can only play inside of each faction. And I know my veteran TCG players out there kind of know this kind of restricts your deck building to make sure that, you know, that there are different varying decks that you can make. Now, there are cards that can go into any deck, but there are still some restrictions on other ones. And the 4 different ones are Chaos, Death, Destruction, and Order. Those are going to be the 4 you're going to be able to choose from. And if you go into that Proving Grounds, you're going to be able to unlock that. There are other ways to earn cards, which are, you can go to the shop here, you can buy different booster packs, you can buy things like play mats, you can buy avatars, you can unlock different avatars like my avatar up here. I can buy different play mats that I can put on the field. So there are all kinds of stuff you can get in the game, and you can actually earn all that stuff as well as you play the game. Another aspect of this game I want to point out is it is not only just an online, virtual trading card game. There's actually a physical trading card game that's the exact same game that was just released, so you can go down to your local game store and pick it up. If you do, all those cards you guys get, you can scan cards into the game, as you can see here. So you can kind of play with your collection in the real life and in the virtual world, so you can practice at home and play against people online. Now, this is not something necessary that you have to do. You can just play with the online client, but it's something that adds a little bit. It's kind of cool if you guys end up getting into the game in your local game store. You can also bring that to online play, which is awesome. So for today's tutorial, we're going to go ahead and we're going to challenge the AI. Select opponent's deck. I'm going to go against Order, I guess. And then on my deck, I'm going to use, let's see, I will use Death. We'll see how Death works out for us. We'll go ahead and click here. So the game is loading up. What you guys are going to see when we first get in here is that the game is played on a playing field of 4 different lanes. So we're going to check this out here in a minute. When it comes up, you have 4 different lanes, and these lanes are going to be very important as certain cards affect what's in front of you, what's to the left of you, what's to the right of you. But when we start out, we have to put our champions in each lane. And what the champion cards are, as you can see here, there are a bunch of different ones that you can pick. But essentially, they're like our war generals in a way. They do have effects they can do. They do dictate what they can play in front of them, but they're more so just staying in the back. They tell the units what to do, you know what I mean? They're leaders. They don't really get into the action and hit the opponent in most cases. So at the beginning of the game, the player that goes first is going to lay 1 champion down, then the second player is going to lay 2, then I'll play 2, and then 1 and 1, and we'll get all our champions down. This is important because placement is very important, very key to where you put this, for several reasons. One, if you see that this guy right here is a champion warrior, that means he can lay down units and put down the creatures in the game that are going to be doing damage. Where if you look at this unit right here, it is a champion wizard, meaning he can play spell cards. There are different cards in the game, such as units, which again the warriors can play, spells, which the wizards can play, and then there are abilities, which all of the different types of classes here, warrior or wizard, can play as well. I have heard there are wizard warriors out there that can play both, which sounds insane to me, but I'm excited to see that. So for my first turn here, we look at this guy. He has a heroic act. We'll get into that later. I'll go ahead and just place him right here. But there are some out there that have abilities like whoever's in front of you, the opponent, you take like 2 less spell damage from them. So that's important to put that guy in front of a wizard who's going to be casting spells, right? So we're going to see our opponent lay 2 down. And as you can see, they have different effects depending on what's going on. We're going to go ahead and check out our Necromancer here. Reduce damage received from highlighted enemies equal to the number of highlighted allied risen units. So if we look here, the person in front of him, I'm going to take less damage from them because it shows the little red marker you see at the bottom there, the very bottom of the card middle, the red mark in front of him. So any unit that's in that slot, I'm going to be taking less damage from, as long as I myself control a risen unit, or the left or the right side does, and it actually adds up equal to the number that are highlighted. So I'm going to go ahead and drop him here. That way that if I have one in front of me, to the left or the right, that way I can take a little bit less damage. And I'm going to drop this guy right here. These skeletons, they don't have anything special. They're just kind of there for, you know, I mean, they're skeletons. What else are they going to do, you know? So our opponent's going to lay some more units down here. And then we'll get into talk about how order of action, how the game works, and how exactly you win when it comes to playing this game. This game has a lot of strategy involved in it. Your turns matter 3 to 4 turns down the road. It's very important. And then it's going to auto-lay my last skeleton champion there. He just has some fluff, some lore written on his card. So they start me off, I'm playing first. So the first player only draws 4 cards. The second player will start their hand with 5 cards, so that's important as well. Another thing I want to point out is if you notice I have 32 HP, my opponent only has 28. The reason for that is if you look on these champion cards in the middle right, you can see I have a number 1 red number at the top and a 1 at the bottom, which is green. The green is the cost of that champion, so I'm assuming there in the deck building there's going to be some restrictions on how many points you can have for your first 4 starting champions. So you can't just put all the OP ones together, but the top one is red, and that actually is your HP number. So everybody starts at 30 HP and then it either goes down or up depending on your champion. So let's say I started at 30 HP. So at 30 HP I add 1, I'm at 31. Look at this guy, 0, I'm still at 31. Look at I'm at 32. And this one adds 0, I'm at 32. So that's total. If we looked at all my opponent's champions, it would be the same thing. That's what puts him at 28. So we started our turn. What can we do during our turn? So first, we have 2 actions, and that is determined by the amount of skulls you see on here. That keeps track of your actions, so you can see in the middle. You can do 2 actions in a turn. One of them can be casting any of the spells from units, which this is a unit, to a spell card, ability, or you can also do a heroic act. So we'll click on this guy who has a heroic act. This does take a action from you. Heroic act is something you can only do once per turn. If you have several champions that have heroic acts, you can still only do 1 heroic act per turn. If I were to click this heroic act, it would take away one of my actions, and I would deal 1 damage to my opponent. So that's important to know as well. If you look in front of each of my champions, you can see that here's a shield, looks like a little swirly blue thing, and a shield. If we look at the cards in our hand, we can see that this is a shield, which means it's a unit. So anybody that has a shield in front of them means they can play that, but sadly my spellcaster cannot. And this goes for spells as well. These guys cannot cast spells, but my spellcaster can. Below our champions, I know this is a lot of information, but it'll slowly start picking up as you start playing the game. Below each of our champions are things called blessings. And they have different quests. So they have 4 little things on each end. Those are quests. If you complete all those, something amazing happens. This card will flip over and something great that you really needed to happen will happen. It'll help you win the game. Each card you click on, you can see what the different blessings, what the actions are. If you forget what each symbol stands for, you can even check your opponents. But let's take our Crypt Infernal here. If I deploy a unit, deploy another unit, and then deal a damage, it's going to flip over. So each time I do it, it rotates and knocks out one of these, and I get to do it. Thing I need to point out right now, guys, you can only really put 1 unit per row, per column here, each time, unless you're playing a specific card that says stacking, which means you can stack units on top of each other. So let's start getting some of these blessings going. So I'm going to look at this guy. Let's look at this guy right here. So let's talk about how a card actually works when you play it. If you look at these cards, they have values in the top left, right, bottom left, bottom right. Sometimes they don't fill out all of them, but sometimes they do. You can see that this Freakish Crypt Horror, if we look at it, when it rotates, it does damage to the opponent. Also rotating on it does health. So when you play a card down for the first time in a lane, it will do whatever is in the top left and do whatever the card says it does. In this case, it'll do X damage, which there's nothing to increase X, so it'll be 0, and I would gain X health. However, on my next turn, this card will rotate to where 1 is in the top left, meaning I will deal 1 damage and gain 1 health. The next turn it'll be X, which means 0, 0. And then the next turn it'll be 2, so I'll deal 2 damage, and I'll heal 2 health. In most cases in this game, you are always attacking your opponent, so most of the time this is happening to your opponent. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this down. You guys will see that nothing happens, right? The X value is nothing, but that would trigger normally. If I said like 1 or 2, that would make that happen. But also, you can see that this rotated because I did deploy a unit. I'm getting closer to my blessing being cast. Next up, let's take a look at spells. We have Arcane Bolt. So if we remember how cards work, rotate, it does that much damage to your opponent. So X nothing, but then eventually it does 7. So it's going to be 7 damage if I leave it on the field for 3 turns. I'm going to go ahead and drop that bad boy down and let it go. So I've used my 2 actions in my turn. Now, you don't draw cards at the beginning of your turn. Now my opponent's going to take their turn. You don't draw cards at the beginning of your turn. You can see my opponent just drew 2 cards. What that means, see how it rotates, each of the cards rotates? So now I did 1 damage and I healed 1. So it rotates, it does whatever's in the top left. That means they ended their turn. If you end your turn with leftover actions, that is how many cards you will draw. So if I end my turn right now, I will draw 2 cards. There are also cards that rotate, and the number, it'll say like rotate. This creature will allow you, whatever number that is, when it rotates, to draw cards. So that's another way you can draw cards, but most of the time, sadly, you're not going to be able to draw anything. So on this turn, I can't cast any more spells because my wizard's already doing something, but I can cast this card. It says, remove a highlighted unit, deal damage to your opponent. And if you look at the bottom, it shows whatever lane you're in, the unit in front of it will be removed. So there's not really any units out here, so I'm going to go ahead and cast this here. Next turn it's going to be doing 2. If they cast a unit in my lane, that's going to be removed, which means it just goes to the discard pile and doesn't do anything. Again, you can see because I deployed a unit, we got our blessing going. I can't really do anything else. I could do my heroic act if I wanted, but I kind of need more cards in my hand, so I'm going to end my turn and draw my card. So we got another unit, so that's pretty good. More units you have, more spells and units you have on the board, the more you're doing. So our opponent again drew 2 cards. We can see that we're rotating everywhere. So we just did 2 there. We did 7 with our spells, so we finally got there. And sadly, our boy here had an X up top, so he didn't do anything. Let's look at this thing. Damage your opponent. It'll do 2, 2, and then 1. That seems great. And it's going to help me with my... it's going to do me a solid with my blessing here for my skeleton captain or whatever. So there we go. Immediately, like I said, you lay it down. If it has a damage number, that's what it's going to do. I'm going to end my turn and draw a card. And there's an ability card. So now I can show you guys how ability cards work, which is going to be great. So my opponent is playing Star Drake, which looks like it has a lot of text, and a big old number 5 right there. So I kind of want to get rid of that as soon as I can. He also casts an ability. And then now he's playing the Paladin Protector, which I want to read into as well. So we're going to take a look at his cards. If you ever want to look at a card or anything like that, you just hold over on it and you can pull it up. If a card reaches the very end of its rotations, it will be put to the discard. You cannot play a card, again, like I said, in that lane until it's discarded. So there are cards that will remove cards even in your lane, which allow you to do more if there's just a bunch of X's at the end of it, right? So let's take a look at this card. Paladin Protector. Reduce damage received from highlighted enemies. So it looks like all 3 in front of it. So highlighted ally units cannot be removed. So it looks like any unit beside it. So this unit and this unit cannot be removed. And these 3 in front of him, units, it says units, right? Oh, any damage received is going to be reduced by what? So right now it's 2, and then it'll be 1, and then it'll be nothing. So that's important. Then we look at the Star Drake here. As it enters play, discard 1 card from your hand. Deal damage to your opponent and remove a highlighted unit. So next turn it's going to do 5 and remove a unit from here. But guess what? We're not going to have a unit. So we're going to go ahead and put this bad boy spell. If we look at the spell, if it gets to its 4th turn, we're going to be able to deal 4 Ren damage, and Ren damage means that it's unblockable, so he's not going to be able to block it with his dude. And then I'm going to be able to gain health from that. So I'm going to go ahead and cast that there. And then let's look at abilities to show you guys what they do, because my opponent did cast an ability. Abilities can be cast in any lane as long as the spellcaster is not casting it, so you can see that I can cast it from any of them. Even if they have a unit, I can cast it there. Let's look at what this guy does. Draw 1 card. Swap this champion's position with a highlighted disengaged champion. Disengaged champion means that the champion doesn't have anything in front of it. Doesn't have a spell or a unit. So that means if I play this, which I'm not going to just yet, I could switch with my my crypt dude. If I would say let's cast it on my skeleton champion, it would switch them both. I'm not going to do that just yet because I want to save it for hitting this use an ability here. So I'm going to end my turn and draw a card. Now I'm going to be taking a lot of damage from my opponent here. I'm going to be taking 5. It's a pretty big hit, but we already have our opponent down to 14, so that's okay. Let's see what my opponent does now. All right, this guy is just going to do 1, 2, and then 3 damage as he rotates around. Anything else? Or are you drawing a card? Oh, he is playing something else. Oh no! I hate this card. So anybody in front of this card can't deploy units. Oh, shoot. That kind of sucks. So he's gone. We're dealing 1 damage. We didn't get a unit, sadly. We got a spell. So it looks like to me I need to draw 2 cards. I'm kind of in trouble here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 cards, try to get some more units in my hand. Woo, there was another spell. Spells are rough, dude. Spells take a while to get chained off. So at least these 2 guys are getting removed from his side. They're running out. He has 4 cards in hand, so there's 1 damage to me. Still at 29. There's another damage, 28. So he's at 13. We're still winning. Oh, no. That's the one that after 3 turns does 7. That's a big one. That's a big one. But I am going to heal 4 when this guy goes off, so that'll be good. That'll be good. So it's my turn now. So we're rotating. Sadly, he goes away. I don't think I can deploy in this lane, right? Yeah, it won't let me. And the reason I can't deploy there is, again, his ability says the highlighted champion, which is the one in front of him, cannot deploy. That sucks. However... Let's see. Zombie Dragon. As this card interplays, discard 1 card from your hand. That's okay. It does rend damage. It'll do 2 and 4. It's unblockable. So let's look at our different cards and which one we'd like to get rid of. Damage to your opponent. If the highlighted champion does not control a unit, your opponent shuffles 2 cards from their hand to their deck. That's amazing. That's actually really good. So we're going to save that. What about this one? Oh my gosh, this is really good too. Corner 1, look at the top X amount of cards, so it'd be 4 from your deck. You may rearrange them. Oh my gosh, that's really good too. It looks like I might be getting rid of my ability. No, I'll get rid of this one. I'll get rid of Scrying Pool, even though it's OP. We'll get rid of that bad boy. I'm looking to do damage in this quickly, so I'm going to have to discard a card. We'll get rid of Scrying Pool. Okay. And you can see that, again, I unlocked the next step to my blessing here because I did deploy another unit, so that's good. I have nothing else I really want to do because this guy's going to help me, right? Oh, actually, I could do this. Yeah, I can get the ability, so that spins him over one more time. And I draw a card, so it's just like I ended my turn anyway. So we're going to spin that, we're going to draw a card, and then I can switch him if I wanted to. Let's put him over here. Oh, no, let's put him over here because he doesn't matter if he can't deploy for the turns this guy's out because he already has a unit deployed. So that actually worked out pretty well for us. So next turn we're going to be able to deploy on that card where we normally wouldn't be able to. Remove a highlighted enemy spell or unit. I hate that. Oh, what? You put it there? That's not good. What did that do? Normally that would remove something, but he didn't even do it. Okay, whatever. I'll take it. So now we're doing 4 damage, 2 damage, so that's 6 total, and I'm healing 4. We're getting it done, dudes. We're getting it done. We're winning. Okay. So I'd really like to be able to get a, let's see what this guy does. Okay, corner 1 and 2, you gain health, so we're not doing damage. We're gaining 1, and then corner 3, we're drawing 2 cards. Let's lay that bad boy right down here. Let's go ahead and get that done. It's going to help us with our blessing. I don't know if we're going to get there yet because we are kicking a little bit of butt here. And then we're just going to end our turn and draw a card. There's nothing really else we can do. There we go. Another unit, which is going to be great. We'll put it on our skeleton here eventually, and we'll be able to see what that blessing is. I hope we can last that long. Woo! 6 whole damages. So we're at 20. Man, he is sure casting a lot of people now. So that's just 1 damage there. We're okay. He's at 7. We're at 19. We're okay. He already did his big 7 damage as well, and he drew a card. Not too bad, not too bad. So we're going to do a total of 4 damage and heal ourselves 1. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and cast this spell here. What does it say? Yeah. If the highlight champion does not control a unit, which this one doesn't, it's a spell. Once it gets to the 4, I do believe, it must shuffle 2 of its cards back into his deck, which is going to be amazing. So it's going to be next turn. Then we can go ahead and place this guy here, which just does damage. It's going to do 1, 2, and 3. And it's going to help me with my blessing. And remember, we're trying to get those blessings to pop off. That's how we, like, really save our game. So that's going to go away there. That's going to go away there. Let's see. 1 damage. Not too bad. No! Mystic Shield's so good, dude. But Ren gets through Mystic Shield. Essentially what Mystic Shield says is whatever number it's showing in the top left, it will negate that much damage. So, yeah, it's kind of rough. Because it's going to start negating damage from me now. At least I get to draw 2 cards. So, see, -2 because that's in the top left. And it wasn't Ren damage, which is rough. However, guess what, buddy? And it reduced that by 2. Guess what, friend? And he had to discard 2. That was really good. That spell is awesome. I'm actually going to be able to kill him this turn. But before I do, I'm going to go ahead and play this card right here. And I'm going to get my blessing going. And let me show you guys how OP this blessing is. So summon him there. Actually, he's going to do 2. It's going to do 2 damage and kill him anyway. But highlighted units are dormant. And that lasts for 3 turns. Oh my gosh, no, the Mystic Shield stopped it. I totally forgot. I was going to shoot him with this heroic thing, but it's not rend. It's just going to get blocked by the Mystic Shield. He'll die next turn. But essentially, dormant means they're like asleep. They can't do anything. So like for 3 turns, 1, 2, 3, see the top like circles? They don't do anything, all of them. It affects every one of them. So if I just end my turn right now, right? Watch it. Even the new ones he plays, even new units he plays get put to sleep. Watch. See if he plays it. I didn't. He wouldn't do it. But now he's dead because now we're definitely rotating to big damage and he can't defend at all. So here we go. It's only going to take it off by 1. And there we go. That's our victory right there. We did it. But do you see how strong that blessing was? That is OP. It allows you to hurry up and kill him before that even pops off. Super excited about that. We did get a level up. We got some achievements. We ended up getting a couple of cool things. Let's open one of those right now, actually. Let's open up the war chest here. What do we get? So we got 2 cards. Searing Lights, Scorn of Sorcery, and then we also got an avatar. It's common. which is cool though. I like different avatars. You'll be able to show off different things about your game, and you can also earn booster packs and things like that. So again, guys, if you want to check out this Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions, please use the link in the description below. You guys can get that on Android, Apple, or Amazon App Store, whichever one of those devices you guys want to use. Again, you can play it physical as well. If you guys go to your local game store, they have it. Check it out. After watching this video, you'll be a pro at it anyway. I want to thank, people at Play Fusion for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate that. I had a ton of fun making this video, and I want to play it a little bit more. I think I have my friend code up there, so if you guys want to add me, we can try to play some games. I am going to be doing a couple streams of this, so we can maybe play each other, see who's the best, Champions player out there. But again, thank you guys so much. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you've been playing this game at all, or if you know anything about it that I didn't. I want to know who the OP champions are. And then subscribe for future content. We'll catch you guys in the next video.